My brother Bill, 30 male, has been trying online dating for 3 years, but with no success. We live in a more rural area, so there aren't that many single women around his age to begin with. The ones who are available, well, Bill didn't think they were good enough. He asked me to edit his Hinge profile so he could attract a mate. I looked it over and, wow, his profile had paragraphs of what he wants in a woman: skinny, cute, under 30, average to high income, and needs to live locally. She must be into anime and gaming. The only pictures he's got are grainy selfies or pictures with one or both parents, mostly our mom. Bill lives with our parents and has been working as a door greeter at Walmart since he was 18. I told Bill that he doesn't need to overhaul his page. He needs to overhaul his life. No woman meeting his wants would want to date an obese 30-year-old living off of his parents and working at a Walmart job normally given to older adults to stay busy. Bill freaked out on me and told our mom. She's upset because I tried to tear him down when he needed my help. She wants me to apologize. But what's there to apologize for? I just told Bill what was wrong and that he should consider changing his life if he really wants what he wants. Am I the idiot? I was supposed to be helping my brother and instead tore him down. Hello, yes. I would like to order one hot sugar mama, younger than me, and lives in my rural area. She must like anime and overweight man boys and not judge me for my job or living status. She should be able to do everything: cook for me, clean up after me, and not have male friends or colleagues. I will offer nothing in return. I hope this is an acceptable compromise. What a catch indeed. And he doesn't need to overhaul his page. He needs to overhaul his life, is what more people need someone to say to them. I can't believe he has photos of his parents on his dating profile. That'd be a nope for me. Dear God, he sounds like an incel in the making. I mean, you were harsh as heck. None of it is untrue, though. He seems to be asking for a lot, with not very much to give in return. Personally, I would probably have chosen not to respond, rather than to say all of that, even though it's true. Can't judge you. The idiot, though, he asked for your help, and you gave him the truth. In the making, dude's fully cooked at 30 years old. If he were a steak, he'd be well done. You are not the idiot. What on earth were you supposed to do? Your mother has a very positive view of him, so she'd be the best person to help him with his profile. The fact that he ran straight to mommy and that mommy now wants you to apologize is exactly how and why Bill is in this position. He needs therapy and a life coach, but my guess is he can't be bothered. Imagine being 30 and not just being able to tell your sibling that you didn't like what they were saying. Instead, you need mommy to do a power play because sister hurt my fifis. He's deluded, and it needed saying. Just reading this, his attitude toward women made my skin crawl. His list is not okay coming from anyone. Ask him if he was athletic, with a good job, and if he would date an obese woman making minimum wage and living with her parents. LOL. In fact, he wouldn't date the female version of himself now. He'd be lucky to get any female version at this point. His mother is the perfect person to overhaul his profile. They're both as delusional as the other. I have in-laws who are exactly the same, and they don't want actual help. They just want you to tell them that they're right. Let them tell each other that everyone else has the problem. OP surely has better things to do with their time, like watching the bees pollinate flowers in a park, far, far away from the family. My wife and I are currently living with our father temporarily. He is a very meticulous person, which I respect. He likes to devote every Saturday to cleaning. I picked up my oldest child from my ex Friday night. He's a young tween. My father-in-law wanted him to participate in cleaning the whole house today. I said he didn't need to because he hadn't participated in creating any mess. My father-in-law insisted everyone in the house needed to participate. Still, I said no, that he needed to unpack and settle in. My father-in-law was very insistent. He said that under his roof, he would insist upon his way of doing things. My wife said we must respect her father and abide by his rules in his house. I said no. I said he could kick me out if he wanted, but I make the decisions for my son, and the answer's no. My father-in-law has been furious all day and demanded an apology. I apologized, but I still didn't make my son participate in the cleaning. My wife is upset with me for upsetting her father. I feel that I make the decisions for my children, regardless of whose house I'm in. Does that belief make me an idiot? There's an obvious answer to this dilemma. Your father-in-law provides a nice home, so your tween son is in a safe and clean environment. A tween is capable of understanding reciprocity. Why do you think he should only have to clean when he makes a mess? Isn't it more appropriate to explain that helping to clean is a gesture of appreciation for the kindness father-in-law has shown, letting you and your son live and stay there? You are the idiot, not just for disrespecting your father-in-law in his own house. You've also let your son down by not giving him the opportunity to learn that it's best to pay kindness with kindness. I also want to pile on this. I live near a university, so there are a lot of dorms and apartments. Having roommates is the norm. I cannot count how many students rant about their filthy roommates, boy or girl, who have no idea about how to clean their spaces and dorms, and how disrespectful they are to the other household members. Filthy roommates just expect others to clean up after them. So, in addition, OP also failed to give his son this opportunity to learn how to clean the house he currently resides in and teach respect to other people's living spaces. His son has not created any of the mess, so not the same situation at all. There's a major difference between teaching a child to clean up after themselves versus expecting them to clean up after you. OP can give his son the opportunity next Saturday after he's contributed to the mess. I'm with you. OP's not the idiot. I was a child forced to do dishes and clean for hours on Friday nights when I hadn't been at that parent's house for 2 weeks. I'll say that it's created some issues for me, especially regarding doing dishes. If it's a week that the son has been there, sure, he can participate in the Saturday cleaning, but helping to clean a house he has nothing to do with? I don't know, man. I'm a single mom to Juliana, teen. I work nights and get home at 8 a.m. When I get home, I'm not driving my kid around to see her friends. I'm sleeping. When she was younger, we had an au pair for this kind of thing. Over the past year, we've had an agreement that she can go wherever she wants after I get home, as long as she can get there on foot or on her bike, and she stays in our town. This agreement works because she's been able to prove that I can trust her over the years. I also have a tracker on her phone that alerts me when she leaves town. My sister asked me to babysit her kids, a teen female and a tween male, last weekend while they went to a wedding. I warned them that I'd be working on those days and would not be taking their kids anywhere until at least 4 p.m., and that I wouldn't let them go into town. They seemed fine with that until Saturday morning. I came home from work, made me and the kids breakfast, and Juliana left the house. My niece asked why Juliana gets to go out and they don't. I said it's because she's been able to prove that I can trust her, and I have the tracker on her phone. They're not with me long enough for me to be able to trust them to wander around town, and since I don't own their phones, I can't put trackers on them. The kids woke me up multiple times that day to take them places because they were bored. Then their parents started calling me because I can't let my daughter go out and not my nieces and nephews, and I should have called in sick if I couldn't let my niece or nephew do anything fun because of my work. Sunday was the same. I didn't take them out that day either because if they didn't respect me, I would not take them out, which their parents also got mad about. My sister and parents are upset that I locked the kids in the house all weekend, but let Juliana do whatever she wanted. They're saying, to be fair, I should have let all the kids go out, or none, and are calling me a bad aunt. Am I the idiot for letting my daughter go out and not them? Not the idiot. Their parents should have arranged activities for the kids and transportation if they were worried about it. You were clear, and they accepted it. You've already inconvenienced yourself by babysitting for the weekend. Now they expect even more? Nah. Something I'm also baffled about. At their ages, are you telling me that these kids couldn't work out how to entertain themselves for a few days? Don't most kids grow out of the "I'm bored and it's your job to fix it" phase by the time they're like 9 or 10? They're old enough to read a book, watch a movie on an iPad, or play board games. My mom had similar rules to me as a teenager. I could go where I wanted, when I wanted, as long as I told her about it and kept on top of my other responsibilities like school. My older brother would complain, saying it wasn't fair since she didn't do that with him, but his grades sucked, and he snuck out all the time to drink with his friends. The most rebellious thing I did as a teen was driving my friend to McDonald's for chicken nuggets at 3 a.m. because she was too high to drive. In other words, I was trustworthy, and he wasn't. OP, you did your sister a favor. They knew the rules. She would have complained more if something happened to her kids if you let them rove around free range. No good deed goes unpunished. My sister, 29, got married last Saturday. The ceremony was beautiful, and I enjoyed myself as much as someone who's famously not a wedding guy could. Unfortunately, the dramatics were not quite as enjoyable. I, 27 male, hadn't seen my family in a few months, and we've only had a handful of phone calls over those months. It's never purposefully that I pull one of these disappearing acts. It's primarily out of habit. I've been fiercely independent for most of my life. I get easily caught up in whatever I'm doing at the time, making it hard to remember to keep those not in my direct line of sight in the loop. My mother's the same way. It's also nice visiting around times when big events like this are going on, as my mom is prone to hovering whenever I'm home, and this takes some of the spotlight off of me. I had been in Ireland for around 8 months, prior to flying in last Thursday. I was originally there to spend 2 weeks with my best friend, who, thanks to my one-track mindset, I had unfortunately grown apart from within recent years. Ours was a friendship that started when we were 14, and was one of the most important relationships in my life for over a decade. I wanted to put more effort into it, so I didn't lose it. He was spending time overseas to reconnect with his heritage since his father's passing. I was already traveling, and my stay obviously turned out to be much longer than 2 weeks. It also turned into us getting married. Funny how life works out. About 2 weeks before our trip to the States for my sister's wedding, I sent out a mass email to close family, letting them know that my husband and I were married. I wanted to assuage any possibility of us stealing any thunder right from the get-go. My mom replied that she was hurt, that she wasn't told sooner or allowed to be there, which I understood. However, it seems our mood flipped by the time we met in person. The rehearsal dinner was on Friday, when we all met up for the first time. My mom was overjoyed to see my partner and me. She spent a large part of the night telling stories that she had always predicted something was different about my friendship with him compared to others I was close with in high school. It was a lovely moment, but at the end of the night, my sister pulled me aside and asked if we would not wear our wedding rings to her ceremony. I was confused, so I asked why. She said I was taking the attention off her, and she was already bitter that I hijacked her rehearsal dinner. More families might take notice if I wore my ring tomorrow and caused a similar incident. I refused. As I mentioned before, the ceremony was beautiful. Still, she didn't speak to me for the rest of the weekend, and we ended up leaving the reception early. Am I the idiot? For a little clarification, my husband and I had been friends since we were 14. It wasn't that we hadn't seen each other for that long. We hadn't seen each other for about 3 months when I came to Ireland to visit him. I've been married for 4 months. I emailed a select group of family members 2 weeks before the wedding. You are the idiot. Normally, asking someone not to wear their wedding ring would be a crazy request, but I actually get where your sister's coming from. You seem remarkably self-centered and thoughtless of the impact of your actions and behavior on others. How can you not think that running off to Ireland, getting married to someone you haven't seen for 14 years, and then telling everyone 2 weeks beforehand, despite being married for 4 months, wouldn't steal her thunder? You had to know that handling things this way would detract from your sister's big day. Also, Jesus, how do you not think of notifying your mother, who you're supposedly close with, that you're getting married? Multiple phone calls over a few months, and you didn't bring it up? Feels like there's something not being said here. The issue isn't with wearing the wedding ring. It's that OP waited until his sister's wedding was 2 weeks away to tell them. Yeah, 2 weeks sounds like even after the RSVP cutoff date, which is usually 3 to 4 weeks. So maybe not so innocent. Like, why didn't you say something when you sent in the RSVP? By the way, you have to give a 3-month notice of intention to marry at a civil office in Ireland before you can even get that civil marriage ceremony done. So I wonder how whirlwind this whole elopement even was. LOL, thought I was the only one who was thinking that. I was born and bred Irish, but lived abroad for the last few years. I married another Irish citizen, born abroad in an EU country, and the paperwork was already a nightmare. Never mind 2 Yanks. That's so wild. It really seems like you stole her thunder on purpose. At best, you're completely self-absorbed, to the point where you can't even see that your choices affect other people too. I have an autistic son, tween, who doesn't like fizzy drinks. He's also not a massive fan of milk or juice, so he drinks water. I went out to eat with my grandfather, kiddo's great-grandfather. We ordered, and my boy got some burgers and fries. Typical kid stuff. The order came with a kid's soda, and my son decided to get water. For some reason, my grandfather took this as an insult and seemed like he was poor, or it went to "it's included in the meal," so he had to get it. So we ordered a Coke. My son had no intention of drinking it, and he just got it to shut my grandpa up. He got a refill on his water, and my grandpa lost it, started yelling at my son about wasting money and destroying Father's Day because he won't drink a Coke. I don't know how this is viewed as disrespectful, even though the family knows he's autistic and has some food and drink aversions. I grabbed my kids and left the restaurant after my father wouldn't let up about the Coke. I get a text from my mom, it's her dad, later, because my son and I ruined Father's Day for my grandpa, and he's so rarely in town. I don't even understand this, because my mom is normally so good with my kids, and she's taking my grandfather's side in this argument. Not the idiot. Grandpa ruined Father's Day by making something out of nothing. No one assumes a family's poor because one kid drinks water. It's normal, and a grown adult shouldn't be freaking out. Your kid is totally within their rights to not drink the cola, and you're within your rights for not forcing him to drink it either. To be more precise, Grandpa made a wine out of water. It would be one thing if your kid insisted on having an expensive drink and then poured it down the drain, although publicly yelling would still not be an acceptable way to handle it. Still, your grandfather's the one who insisted it was a free drink. All your son did was literally get a refill of a different complimentary beverage. Good Lord, people flip out on kids for drinking too much soda. Then we get a situation like this, where a kid doesn't want soda and still gets flipped out on. It baffles me and makes me wonder if your mom knows the whole story. Also, are you sure that your grandfather's doing okay? Angry outbursts could be a sign of something more seriously wrong, like the early stages of dementia. Good for you for sticking up for your son and showing him that you have his back.